So y'all want to know why they wouldn't allow us to read for centuries? Y'all want to know why? This is why. Because books like Antiquity by Godfrey Higgins. Now, mind you, this book was written in 1836, the time when we wasn't allowed to read. If caught reading, we can get our hands cut off, or either was tortured to death, or just murdered. As you can see, first published in 1836. Now we go to page 52. Y'all check this out. Right here. The religion of Buddha of India is well known to have been very ancient. In the most ancient temples scattered throughout Asia, where his worship is yet continued, he is found black. He's found black as jet, with a flat face, thick lips, and curly hair of the Negro. All right, keep that in mind, y'all. Keep that in mind. Now, we know that history has been whitewashed because it was written by a bunch of racists enslaving Caucasians. So, of course, they are going to put a spin on these deities to make them seem superior in their white supremacy mindset. So, of course, they're going to change it from this black as jet with a flat face, thick lips, and curly hair as a Negro to a stringy haired, blue eyed, pale skinned, pinkish, pale Caucasian. Now, look at this. To what time are we to talk a lot this Negro? He will be proved to have been prior to the god called Krishna. Now, let's keep going. Here it reads, the religion of this Negro god is found by the ruins of his temples and other circumstances to have been spread over an immense extent of country, even to the remotest parts of Britain. Let's keep going, y'all. Now, as we move to page 54, let's see what Herodotus has to say. He says that there were two Ethiopian nations, one in India and the other in Egypt, or rather Africa. Now, let's just use common sense here before I read on. If the people in India are referred to as Ethiopians, then what are the people in North America referred to as? Indians, right? We're talking about the original Americans, not the Mongolians and not the European Caucasian Americans. We're talking about the indigenous Americans. Here, Herodotus refers to these, the ones in India, as Ethiopians. The people in India look much like that of the people in North America. Also, the people in Ethiopia, or rather ancient Egypt or Kemet, look much like that of the people in North America too. So these are the same people. Okay, that is the point. Now, let us continue. Now we come down here to some challenging information. Dr. Shuckford gives an opinion that Homer and Herodotus are both right, and that there were two Ethiopias, and that the African came from India. This is challenging, but I don't doubt nothing. Now here we are dealing with the ancient world, and we notice, or we're going to notice, that the ancient world, there were nothing but so-called black people. Listen to this. The bishop of how you say this? Avranches thinks he has found three provinces of the name of Kush. Now we know Kush is talking about indigenous, sub-Saharan black people or Semitic people. Black, so-called black people. Now look at this. Ethiopia, Persian, and Susinia. There were three Ethiopias. That is, countries of blacks. Not three Kushes. And this is perfectly consistent with what M. Bochart has maintained, that Ethiopia of Africa is not named Kush in any place of scripture. And this is also consistent with what is said by both Homer and Herodotus. So we have some challenging information here according to Herodotus. Okay? Herodotus is still saying that the Africans come from India. Now, we could say there's some validity to this if we go by what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught. He said that before the original man and woman went into East Asia, in which he was referring to Africa, that is, but he called it East Asia. He said that we all were in the more so we were more so in the parts of like Arabia, India, and stuff like that. And the majority of us had straight hair. This is what Elijah Muhammad teaches. So, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says that the tribe of Shabazz wanted to go into East Asia and conquer the wildlife. So, it could be some validity to what Herodotus is claiming. Now, here we also have some challenging information, wherein it reads, if there were two races of people, right here, who have been confounded together, one of which came from India and overran Arabia, Palestine, and Egypt, and brought thence its religion to the Egyptians, and was in color black, it must have come in a very remote period. He got that shit right, because, like I said, that's challenging. Because the religion that was brought to the Egyptians, from what I read, according to the Emram tablets of Thoth the Atlantean, translated by Maurice Durrell, their religion was brought to them by the Atlantean priest king Thoth. So that's challenging. Unless you want to say Thoth first settled in India and then came from India to Kemet or ancient Egypt. You know, this is some challenging shit. But let's keep it pushing. Again, we are in the book Anacaleptus by Godfrey Higgins. First published in 1836. Mr. Wilsford, in his treatise on Egypt and the Nile, in the Asiatic Researches informs us that much very ancient statues of the god Buddha in India have crisp and curly hair, with flat noses and thick lips and eyes. Nor can it be reasonably doubted that a race of Negroes formerly had power and preeminence in India. So, again, this is what they continue to hide from us due to white supremacy and a superiority complex that should be dealt with therapy. Some type of counseling they should have to with go. Now, let's keep going. Now we go here to page 59. We're still in the book Anacaleptus, but let us read. We're going to read the highlighted format. There can be scarcely any doubt left on the mind on the reader that by the word Ethiopia, two different countries have been meant. This seems to be perfectly clear, and it is probable that by an Ethiopian, a Negro, correctly speaking, may have been meant, not merely a black person, and it seems probable that the following may have been the real fact, viz. That a race of either of Negroes or blacks, but probably of the former, came from India to the west, occupying, conquering, and forming a kingdom on the two banks of the Euphrates. The eastern Ethiopia, alluded to in Numbers, chapter whatever that is, I think that's 11, he's a 7, I ain't really good at them, yeah. That they advanced forwards, occupying Syria, Phoenicia, Arabia. Yeah, we know these are the original habits of the land. In Egypt, okay? And they, or some tribe of them, were the shepherd kings of Egypt. That after a time, the natives of Egypt rose against them and expelled part of them into Abyssinia or Ethiopia. Another part of them into Adume or Syria or Arabia. And another part into the African desert of the Libya. where they were called Lubim. Okay, so we see that there was two Ethiopians, two different set nations of Ethiopia, according to Godfrey Higgins, when it comes to his scholarship. Oh yeah, don't stop now. We still going, y'all. Check this out. For all you racist people, I would advise y'all to log off because this is really going to get up under your racist skin. Now, in the book Anacalyptus, on page 134, where it's right here, it reads, on the first view, it seems rather an extraordinary circumstance that the statues of the gods of the ancients should be represented of a black color. This coming from Godfrey Higgins, a European scholar, book written in 1836. Okay, let's just get this clear. This is what he's saying, or that they should have been made of a stone as nearly black as it could be obtained. Woo! Do y'all hear that? Woo! Now listen to this. Where the stone could not be obtained quite black, a stone was often used similar to our blue slate. Okay? Of a very dark blue color. This is where you get the word Indian from, or India, or indigo. Okay? The drapery of statue often being of a different light colored stone. Alright? Y'all getting this? Are you getting it? Nah. Let us keep it pushing. Of course, we know, according to Mr. Maurice, says that Osiris too, the black divinity of Egypt, in Creana, the sable shepherd god of Matriel, have the striking similitude of character, initiated by Mr. Wilford, cannot be disputed, any more than that Krishna. So this is Krishna. So he's saying Krishna and Osiris are black divinity gods. They're both the same in skin tone, that is. Okay. Now it is not a little remarkable that the dark blue tint approaching to black, as his name signifies, was the complexion of Krishna, who is considered by the Hindus not so much an avatar as the presence of the great Vishnu himself in a human form. That is, he was incarnate or in the flesh, as Jesus was said to be. So now it's saying that all these gods of antiquity was black. But guess what? They have been whitewashed. Everything has been whitewashed. Okay? These are the original gods. Listen to this. Mr. Maurice, as the reader sees, states him to have been black. And he's talking about Osiris, Krishna, and the god Buddha. Okay? Y'all listen to this. For reasons which the reader will soon see, I am inclined to think that Osiris was not the copy of Krishna, but of the earlier god Buddha. Now, let's keep it pushing. Remember, Mr. Maurice, as the reader sees, states him to have been seen black, and that Memphis, or sacred bull of Heliopolis, the symbol of Osiris, was also black. Osiris is allowed also to be the Siva or Shiva of India. So Siva would be Shiva, one of the three persons of the Indian god Brahma, Vishnu, or Krishna in Shiva, or Siva, of whom the bull of the zodiac was the symbol. Here we go. Now, the word now in Indian language means black. I didn't know that, but now I do. Nilo in India signifies black and is ought to signify the same in Egyptian, since whenever the Arabs, the Hebrews, the Greeks, and the Latins have wished to translate the word Nile, they have also made use of a word in which their language signifies black. There we have it. We're going to keep it going. The word Osiris He's going into the etymological root of these words. Garfield Higgins, we have to give him much credit because he kept it real. Unlike most of these people that's whitewashing shit. The word Osiris may be a Greek word composed by the Greeks, but remember the Greeks were taught by so-called black people, which are the Etruscans. So technically the Greek language is what we would consider an African language. Now, by the Greeks from which their own emphatic article, O, in the Hebrew word, I can't read it in Hebrew, but Shir, written with their customary termination, I guess that's Osiris, the meaning of the Hebrew word is black. The one meaning of the word is evidently the black, or the black god, or the black god. This is confirmed by Plutarch in his treatise De Asilit et Osirit. So he's speaking about Osiris. Okay? Now, we're going to keep it pushing. Here, he goes to back up with more clarity. The ancient name, as we, now this is page 136. Anyway, the ancient name, as we have said, was Siri, the name as Osir, or then again Osar. They ain't put that there, but it's Osar as well, or Osiris, who was always black, after whom it was called, and by whom was meant the sun, that it was called the river of the sun, or river sun, or the river of Osiris, as we say. Oh yeah. Now we move to page 138. Osiris and his bull were black. All the gods and goddesses of Greek were black. At least this was the case with Jupiter, Bacchus, Hercules, Apollo, Ammon, the goddess Venus, Isis, Hecate, Diana, Juno, Metis, Ceres, Cybele are black. Look at this. All the gods of antiquity are black. You get it? The linghams in India anointed with oil are black. A black stone was adored in numbers of places in India. Same thing like in Mecca. They got a black stone to represent the black god. They got a black stone in Mecca that they walk around this Kaaba and they rub on it and be kissing on this black stone. They don't even know it represents the black god, the original god. But that's what they doing. The same thing that was represented in the ancient world in India and all over the world. The ritual is still being carried out. Okay, we keep going, y'all. So, on the color of the gods of the ancients said the identity of them all with the god Saul. And with the Krishna of India, nothing more need to be said. Nothing more need be said. Okay, so they done said basically all of these languages when it come to these gods. Okay? As Maurice flatters himself by the word Krishna in the Indian language signifying black. So he's saying all these ancient gods were black. I don't care how you put it. And the god being of that color when he was informed of what Mr. Maurice was probably ignorant. Okay, that's what they're trying to say. And that all the Romish countries of Europe, France, Italy, Germany, etc., in the God Christ, as well as his mother, are described in their old pictures and statues to be black. The infant God, in the arms of his black mother, his eyes in drapery, white as himself, perfectly black. If the reader doubt my word, he may go to the cathedral at Mulhouse, to the famous capital of the Virgin at Loreto, to the church of the Emanucates, the church of Saint Lazaro, or the church of Saint Stephen at Gaium, to Saint Francisco. Anyway, point is, they all black. Let me see something. Very often the black figures have given away to white ones. Look at this. Let me go back up one. There is scarcely an old church in Italy from some remains of the worship of the black virgin and black child are not to be met with. See that? Very often the black figures have given away to white ones. And in these cases, the black ones, as being held sacred, were put into retired places in the churches, but were not destroyed. So you got the Pope who bows to the black Madonna and child, or the black Mother Mary, and the child, the Christ-like figure child, or the black Messiah child, but are yet to be found there. So they hide them. Then they give you these whitewashed images. In many cases, the images are painted all over and look like bronze. Oh yeah, this is the ones they're hiding. Often with colored aprons or napkins round the loins or other parts. So they been hiding our shit, but pictures in great numbers are to be seen where the white of the eyes and the teeth and the lips a little tinge with red, like the black figures in the museum of the Indian company, show that there is no imitation of bronze. Y'all see this? In many instances, these images and pictures are where we at shaded, not all one color of very dark brown, so dark as to look like black. They are generally esteemed by the rabble with the most profound variations. Anyway, we can see this clearly that they are black people. Now, as we focus on antiquity, the Romish Krishna is black in India, black in Europe. Again, the Romish Krishna is black in India, black in Europe, and black he must remain, like the ancient gods of Greece, as we have just seen. But after all, what was he but their Jupiter, the second person of their trimuta or trinity, the logos of Parmenides and Plato, in the incarnation or emanation of the solar power. Alright, my phone about to die, so we're going to try to wrap this up. I must now request my reader to turn back to the first chapter and to reconsider what I have said respecting the two Ethiopias and the existence of a black nation in a very remote period. When he has done this, the circumstances of the black god of India being called Krishna and the god of Italy, Christ, being also black, must appear worthy of deep consideration. Anyway, we see that the gods of antiquity are black, and whatever the oldest is in its more purest state. Okay, Krishna having the meaning of black. Y'all see that? Having the meaning of black. Okay, so you can't be a Christ unless your ass black. So anybody coming acting like they're a Christ figure and they look pinkish pale, they have the mayonnaise color, just dismiss it, because you know it's a false Messiah or Christ. Unless they got half and half, meaning the Caucasian, meaning their mother may be Caucasian or the father may be black, so-called black. I mean, we'll give them a pass because they half and half. But the gods of antiquity, shit, without a doubt, are so-called black. Are highly melanated, swarty, taunty, bronze skin, copper color, whatever you want to call it. This is what we have to give according to Garfield Higgins in his book Anacaleptus, written back in the 1800s, or rather 1836. So I would advise y'all to get this book because Garfield Higgins tells it just how it is. And he doesn't hold any punches whatsoever. He's even talking about the Kali Yuga. Anyway, until then, may the force be with you.